Hello, my name is René Jonk, Director of ACT-GEO. In the next 10 minutes or so, we will discuss some thoughts around a topic that is critical to running a successful upstream oil and gas company. How do I streamline and execute a portfolio of oil and gas opportunities? This video is based on my personal experiences and they simply reflect one person's perspective. We are happy to receive constructively critical feedback on the videos so we can improve future training videos. So please engage with us online. And of course, we're happy to answer any questions and comments in the comment section. In this video, we focus our discussion around exploration opportunities as a means to streamline a portfolio. We will discuss these concepts through some real-world life examples from offshore Namibia, Egypt, and Guyana. The characterization of a subsurface opportunity is uncertain and incomplete, and our assessment of an opportunity is subject to constant revision. This is a critical notion due to ACT, which means your portfolio characterization is really never done. There are two key components to adhere to in a portfolio, and they are related. First, portfolio diversity is king at all scales. In the long run, organizations with the most diverse portfolios win. What do I mean with portfolio diversity? Well, it simply means limited or no risk dependency between opportunities in a portfolio. In other words, success or failure in one opportunity does not affect another opportunity in that portfolio. Now, obviously, dependency can play in your favor for opportunity running room, but ultimately diversity and independence are king when commercial success rates are only around 10%. In particular, exploration, more so than asset or company acquisition, has the potential to shift oil and gas portfolio value significantly, even at a time where we are going through a global energy transition. Those companies that maintain a consistent approach to evaluating and exploring opportunities as either additive or displacive to their portfolio will win in this game. So a key boundary condition that you have to accept is the following. No individual organization is that good that they can pick out the single golden opportunity amongst a set of uncertain and risky opportunities. If you come across someone that claims to be that good, they are simply blessed with PDL. And while it's nice to be lucky, being smart wins in the long run. So let's meet some of the actors that we come across on the exploration stage. Well, first you might come across naysayer. This is the person that can find fault with any opportunity presented. This individual will be correct most of the time given average success rate. And often this is someone that is respected and listened to because they may have saved an organization from what are deemed expensive mistakes, possibly multiple times. It is important to understand that exploration failure is not the same as a mistake, provided the key risks and uncertainties were considered and the well outcome is within the range of communicated scenarios. This individual will limit the ability for opportunities to enter or displace an existing portfolio, ultimately to the detriment of the company. You will not win this way. Then there is Mr. Rose-tinted glasses, the opposite. I love this guy, and I love to pitch an opportunity to him. They appreciate creativity and novel thought and get excited about the success case. These individuals can typically not say no to a well-presented opportunity and may not query risk and uncertainty critically. They may be famous for supporting a success case, but ultimately in the long run, the luck will run out. You will also not win exploration game in this way. So the best explorationists are really typically a team of those that can appreciate levels of uncertainty but still screen a group of opportunities consistently and high-grade a subset that will deliver an acceptable success rate. This is a team you should strive to be part of. This organization embraces exploration failure, but has a success rate that ranks amongst its peers. Oh, who's that running through? Well, that's Captain Hindsight. We can all be guilty of being Captain Hindsight. Hindsight is 20/20, and while it's important to critically learn from drill-well experiences, post-well confidence should not be confused with ability. And Captain Hindsight may appear once or twice in the video to remind us. So, how do you characterize and rank opportunities? Leaving opportunity size for maybe another video, the first pass should be on a consistent description of sentiment and confidence of the key geological elements that deliver success. A matrix like this is often called a risk matrix, but we should articulate a sentiment and confidence with words first. These words may translate to a quantification and ultimately will. However, in my experience, it's more useful to first discuss risk and confidence in a qualitative sense. So what are the key components of uncertainty for an exploration opportunity? I really consider three main categories, each of which is made up of a number of independent components. The most significant uncertainty and lack of predictive ability is charge. The key rule for charge is that the combination of elements reside in a low confidence space. In other words, There are a lot of opportunities for it to be better or worse than you postulated. Therefore, it's really important to articulate multiple charge models. That does not mean that any or all will be present, but it means that if a prospect fails for a specific source model, you have not yet killed off all the opportunities in the basin. Scenario diversity is really a friend at this stage. The second component of uncertainty and risk is retention, which is the definition and sealing of the container. And this is really the most commonly interpreted reason for failure when a wellbore observes significant hydrocarbon indicators but fails to encounter connected volumes of hydrocarbon fluids. And then the third component of consideration is reservoir. While of course there are cases where wells fail for this reason, this is actually not that often a reason for wells failure in exploration. So let's look at some key play openers in the context of these considerations with the benefit of Captain Hindsight. Passive margin, offshore southern Africa, straddling Namibian and South African offshore waters. Really an exploration hotspot at the moment. Well, hydrocarbons offshore these waters were actually discovered by Chevron in 1974 at the Kudu gas field. So why did it take another 50 years to get to this next stage? Well, at the time of the Kudu gas discovery, offshore gas is a non-commercial commodity, and the results of early wells can often put a wrongly confident tack on a large geological province. In this case, this is a gas basin. Stay away. The source rock associated with the Kudu field is a Sinrift source, so could we come up with other source candidates in the basin? Well, ironically, less than a year later, the presence of both early post-kinematic oil-prone sources and deepwater reservoirs are proven, albeit at this point deepwater exploration is still in its infancy. So instead of a gas province associated with Kudu, an oil province in the tectonic post-rift area outboard of the Kudu Sinrift setting may be present. So while there were a few more wells drilled afterwards, really exploration didn't come back until about the 2010-2014 timeframe, really driven by the notion of conjugatism, being the discovery of the pre-salt Borremian-Aptian prolific petroleum system offshore Brazil. However, this conjugate analogy proved to be disappointing, but a number of these exploration wells did confirm the consistent presence of an early post-kinematic Aptian oil-prone source rock outboard of extended continental crust, and an ability to calibrate its maturity. At which stage the Orange Basin in particular should have piqued interest due to its more significant burial depth to mature the source. So in the end, as an industry we got there. Kudos to Impact Oil for being a persistent explorer here. Now what we can learn from this moment of hindsight. Predicting charge adequacy is difficult, but a single well result or analogy should not stop you from considering alternative models, even if postulated. In a passive margin setting, a rule of three is a good one to embrace, which is postulating source models for pre, syn, and post-kinematic settings in the margin. So let's look at another example of a late giant discovery, this time in a long-established petroleum province, the Zohr discovery in the outer reaches of the Nile Delta Basin in 2015. The Greater Nile Delta as a prolific gas-prone petroleum system had been long established since the 60s and 70s, with the charge paradigm being oligomycene source rocks dominated by terrigenous organic matter, making this a thermogenic gas condensate province. So why did it take so long to find Zohr? Well, in fact, Shell and Exxon took on an exploration effort in the late 90s to early 2000s to explore the outboard part of the delta, a large exploration block that included the Zohr structure. The structure was recognized, but why was it not drilled as part of the campaign? Well, much has been made about the story of the unusual shallow water carbonate reservoir type as Zohr, but the possibility of carbonate reservoirs around the Eratosthenes high was postulated even back at that time. What really made this a risky prospect at the time was the lack of a viable charge model, as the thermogenic source further inboard, even if it was present out here, would be immature. To the explorationist, the real trigger to reconsider this structure would have been the establishment of the biogenic gas as a viable commercial petroleum system in the broader region through the discoveries offshore Israel between 2008 and 2012. At this stage, if you were an explorationist with a well-characterized portfolio of prospects, you would have jumped on this structure. And in 2015, it was E&I that jumped on it and drilled the Zohr structure, and the rest is history. So what's the lesson learned here? Well, keep track of a portfolio of prospects, even ones that at a time look too risky, because it's important perceptions will change based on new information, particularly unexpected drill wells results. Act fast upon information is key. You can only do that if you maintain a long-term portfolio view of opportunities. Last learning example, particularly juicy one, the Cretaceous stratigraphic plate trend along the Suriname-Guyana margin. Discovered in 2015 with the Lisa well by ExxonMobil and partners. So why did this one take so long to get on the map? Well, in all fairness, this one is much less of a tale of not understanding the plate type, but rather a region being geopolitically delayed, probably by about a decade. Cretaceous stratigraphic traps charged by Senatoronian source as a circumatlantic plate type had been established at least a decade prior, with the discovery of the Jubilee fields being one of the key play openers in this conjugate margin. This plate type was long postulated on this margin as well, aided by the presence of onshore heavy oil fields charged by a basinal source. So charge model confidence was fairly high. So what's the tasty learning to be had here then? Well, maybe less a learning, but more of a humbling thought. Actually, the second well drilled in the play, Skipjack, came up empty. Same play type as Liza, very similar AVO characteristics. What if, rather than Liza, imagine the first well in the Exxon campaign would have been Skipjack? Well, on the Suriname side of the trend, this was really discovered on the back of the Liza play opener. In fact, at the same time, Suriname Apache drilled the Colibri and Papakaya wells first in a different play type further outboard, before realizing what they should target following the Liza discovery and being very successful at chasing that play. I would dare to propose that if Skipjack was drilled first by Exxon and Apache had left after the unsuccessful Colibri and Papakaya wells in Suriname, this prolific play might still be out there, undiscovered only in the most daring explorationist mind. Would you be willing to revisit this margin with this set of well results? Food for thought to those that are willing to come up with new ideas in areas already unsuccessfully tried and tested. So, hopefully this short video was entertaining and perhaps educational. So let's recap a few main learnings. First, even in an energy transition, the best way to keep your portfolio of assets and opportunities competitive is to keep exploring. Exploration opportunities are going to continue to displace established assets in a portfolio. Focus on play-based description of opportunities with multiple credible charge models, even if postulated. Catalog your opportunities, even if you didn't rate them. Make note of the key uncertainties and know what information might make you change your mind and de-risk these opportunities fast. Being a fast mover is key. Which brings me to the most important learning. Keep learning. Keep a lookout for additional videos that we might post and drop us a line. Thank you for listening and happy hunting in the exploration arena.